What's up, Ego Hackers? I'm C.S. Joseph, and this is Season 29, Episode 2. Season is How to Master Your Demon Function, and Why to Master Your Demon Function. And today's episode is How to Master Your Demon Extrovert Intuition, or your Demon NE. Extremely windy. And I think the terrain and the weather is perfect for this particular episode because we're going to be discussing two types in particular: extrovert sensing heroes. And extrovert sensing heroes are who have extrovert intuition demon, right? So, mastering the demon. Why bother mastering a demon? Why bother with it at all? Most people in the MBTI community think that the demon is basically a waste of time and it's just full of evil and sin and you shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't have anything to do with it. Not like what the Catholic Church would basically say, But I disagree. And once again, I have to use an anime reference because why not? So, in Naruto, he has within him his demon function, which is the nine-tailed demon fox, the most powerful of the tailed beast demons. But are they really demons? I think in the show, the term demon is actually more of a label because they're extremely destructive forces and have been known to cause huge genocidal disasters of people, of epic proportions, of people just being slaughtered in mass. Not like nuclear weapons. Well, that's a thing. But are they really demons? Come to find out later in the story that they're not. They're not demons at all. And the nine-tailed demon fox, you find out, has a name. His name is Kurama. And, he ends up befriending the main character, Naruto. And he makes peace with the demon. And the demon, instead of being a demonic force within, becomes an angelic force. Now, turning your demon into an angel is something that we've talked about consistently within the context of Season 19. You can kind of consider Season 29 to be the direct sequel to Season 19, right? So, I highly recommend you watch it and you understand gateway functions and you understand cognitive transitions and the like when it comes to getting you to the point where, hey, I should probably work on turning my demon into an angel function. You got to do this because you'll never be integrated. You'll never reach enlightenment without doing so. You really, really have to do so. So, the demon from the angel. The demon is extremely powerful. It's extremely destructive. Most people don't understand the nature. And most people, especially in MBTI, like I said previously, will teach you to just ignore the demon. The problem with ignoring the demon within is that it will come out on its own. It will break out of the abyss, either through telling lies to people outside of its cage or through other means, etc. But at that point, it's out, it's very destructive, and it'll start doing like binging behavior. It will justify all of its actions, and it will literally destroy your life and the lives of those people around you. And everybody is subject to this risk. People also maintain that sin nature, or a man's propensity for sin, comes from the demon function. I used to agree with that. I even used to say that to this audience. In my studies, I no longer believe that. I'd like to say that this is me officially changing my stance on something. I've only done it a few times. But given my studies into the nature of sin versus evil and realizing that they are not the same thing, right? I would say that the demon function is actually more responsible for evil in the form of hatred than anything else. And it is not actually the source of sin nature within a human being. I maintain the source of sin nature is basically a human being's propensity to choose the expedient decision instead of the meaningful one. That, I think, in essence, is what sin nature is, where human beings don't really take care of themselves compared to necessarily taking care of each other. So to me, sin nature equals a human being cares for other people but doesn't care for themselves. And that's typically an FE user. Extroverted feelers, very self-deprecating. They'll take care of everybody else before they take care of themselves, which is a problem. Or you have the FI user approach to sin nature. They won't take care of anybody, and they'll focus solely on themselves, which is another problem. So either way, I no longer maintain that the demon function is the source of sin nature in a human. So there you have it. I have changed my position on something for once. Well, I think it's actually the 4th or 5th time. And as this audience knows, I go out of my way to be as honest about that sort of thing as possible. Very much. Because I maintain it's very necessary to do so. So that's why I have this commitment. Anytime I change my outlook on the science or any aspect of it, I'll inform you folks immediately. So, and this is one area where I have changed. So, but the demon definitely is a source of evil. And evil in terms of, hatred. Usually comes out because it's connected via cognitive orbit to the inferior function. And the inferior function gets hurt or whatever, and then the hero doesn't know what to do, the parent doesn't know what to do, the child doesn't know what to do, no one knows what to do because you got the crying baby. And so then they outsource it to the demon, the uncle, etc., or the roommate, living in the headspace, the same house or headspace as the ego or the hero function, basically. And, well, the demon takes over, and it gets very destructive. It's kind of like, since we're discussing SE heroes right now, they become extremely violent and take away other people's choices, maim other people, damage other people, when they believe their choice or their own freedom is being taken away. Because what they do is they tack on their freedom onto everyone else's freedom. Meaning that if I don't get a choice, nobody gets a choice, right? And that, in essence, in general, is how the demon function works. Usually, attacking the inferior is the quickest way to bring someone's demon function out. And so different for my wife, because that's what happened between Red and I earlier today. We had, every now and then we fight, because of course we do. We're TI parent, and I actually really enjoy fighting with my wife. I had some good verbal sparring. Anyway. So, but she thought earlier today that I was taking away her choice, and then she started going, well, fine, if you're going to go do that, then I'm going to go do this. I'm like, you can go do that, but that's not what this is about. It literally, she was getting mad at me for choosing a gym schedule, like when I was going to the gym, because she wanted to go to the gym in the morning, and I'm like, no, I need to go to the gym in the morning first, because I have so much more to do for the rest of the day, and looking forward to doing the gym is not something I could do in the day. It actually just increases my stress. If you get the gym done first, I'm less stressed, I can do more. And that's something that I need, right? For her, it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, right? So I got a lot of schedules to manage, between coaching schedule and Krav Maga, and also, live streaming, and doing video and other meetings, etc. I'm a busy guy, right? So, and then somehow she twisted the conversation into, well, I'm just afraid that you think that I'm not fun anymore. And I'm like, how does me going into the gym in the morning have anything to do with you not being fun anymore? Well, it's because the demon function has a tendency to twist things. Why is that? The demon function likes lying. Oftentimes you hear people talk about the devil, aka Lucifer, and that he's known as the father of lies, right? Well, your demon function acts the same way. Your demon function is like the father of lies within your own soul, right? It exists to lie to you. It exists... Gotta love the storm, huh? It's really windy like those SE heroes. Like windy like my wife. She's very windy. But I love it. So, just sometimes getting her to turn into a cool breeze from a huge tempest is a little difficult. Challenging. But gratifying. Anyway. Kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. So, the demon ends up coming out to, ultimately protect or heal the inferior, etc. One of the ways externally that a person can deal with the demon is heal the inferior function as much as you can. Reassure them that their choice is not being taken away in the case of an SE hero, and then they'll get back to normal, right? Well, the problem is it's not going to solve it's not going to solve the issue. It's not going to solve anything because it's just going to come back out again. And remember, Lucifer being the father of lies, their demon function is lying to them constantly, twisting things, telling them half-truths. It does not tell the truth at all. That's the biggest issue. Oftentimes, the demon, even if it's an introverted function, will actually externalize the source of what it believes, or what it feels, or what it perceives, or what it judges as the source of the issue at hand. And it will feed that information directly to the inferior function, to the infant, and then ultimately, then the hero will use that because of its axis relationship with the inferior function. And then all of a sudden, you got an angry ESTP or an angry ESFP in your face. What are you doing taking away my choice? Oh, you took away my choice? I'm going to take away your choice. When no one is actually taking away their choice. But they're believing the lies that their demon is telling them, so they're just assuming. They are assuming that you or someone else is taking away their choice. And notice how it's always externally focused, right? The demon is very quick to blame everybody else. Very quick to blame any demon. But that's not actually what it's saying. This is where it gets really, really confusing. This is the area where I think that most people just don't realize. I think it's one of the reasons why the MBTI community would teach people to just ignore the demon entirely. And it's a belief. I think this is like the main belief that I have about this. So, as to why they do it. Don't mind if I do. Got myself a quarter. I collect quarters because I go play pool with them. So, anyway. So, the demon's lying. Why is it lying? Is it really lying, though? Well, yes, it is. So you got to translate what's being said behind the lies. Because it's actually trying to help you. It really actually is. The problem is, why does the demon lie? Why does it need to lie to you? It's because of your personal pride. So let's discuss that. Before we really get into what pride means and where's that coming from within the context of an SE hero, let's discuss something about stability versus containment, right? This is something that's necessary. This is angel versus demon within that transformation from immature to mature use of this gateway function, the demon, basically. And what this means is, any knowledge that's out there, like right down to the tree of knowledge, for example, which causes people to, do the expedient instead of the meaningful. If you study at the tree of life first, then you're learning the logos. You're learning the grim reality, the grim truth about life. And the fruit growing on the tree of life, it's venomous. It's got spikes coming out. It's going to hurt going down, and it's going to hurt coming out. No one likes to swallow truth or the grim reality of life. That's why it's just so much, wow, I want to go eat that nice looking fruit over at the tree of knowledge, right? Well, that's the problem. Because the tree of knowledge effectively within the human soul, because it doesn't have the logos naturally, the logos is not natural to us. The tree of knowledge is natural to us. So expedient behavior is natural to humanity. Whereas meaningful behavior is not natural to humanity. So this causes a problem. So when knowledge ends up lacking containment, like, for example, as I always say, nuclear energy versus nuclear weapons, right? When that happens, disastrous, huge, epic proportions, death, everywhere, all over the place. Death becomes a huge issue. Very big problem, right? So, your demon function leads to death. It'll lead to your own death, or it'll lead to the death of other people eventually. Especially if you consider the consequences from a butterfly effect point of view. Decisions that you make with your demon, especially extrovert intuition demon, extrovert intuition being awareness of long-term consequences. Any decision you make as an SE hero will create huge long-term consequences for yourself and other people. It has the power to destroy not just your own future, not just your own freedom, but everyone's future, everyone's freedom, everyone's choice, basically, be completely gone. So, you kind of want to watch out for that. Really want to watch out for that. So, knowledge that lacks containment becomes something like nuclear weapons. Well, the demon is very unstable with its energy. So that's why it's largely contained within a person's soul. And the archetypal, version of this comes from the concept of the abyss. Like how the devil is locked away in the abyss, right? Well, the abyss is the lowest part of your soul. And that's basically the gateway to the abyss. That's where the demon lives, the demon function lives. And it's in the abyss, right? And it will lie, cheat, and steal anything it could do to get out. Because it doesn't like being in the abyss. It doesn't like being locked away in the abyss. And it knows that the hero, or the warrior, basically, but most people it's a hero because it's immature, right? It knows that the hero, or the warrior, the apex of the ego, has within it the capability of putting the demon back into the abyss. It has the ability to lock the demon away. And it doesn't want to get locked out. So it's constantly plotting on how to get out of its cage or how to get out of the abyss. And whenever it gets out, hey, I'm out. There's not much time. I need to live it up, right? So the demon goes around living it up. Well, that's where, binging comes in. Any demon, what it does is it causes permanent damage to things. It likes burning bridges, constantly, because any demon loves to say, never again, never again. It loves burning bridges. This thing will never happen ever again. And I have the power to make sure that it will never happen. I will maim you if I have to. Or I will end your life. Or I will lock you away. I will take all of your freedom so it is impossible for you to ever do this to me again. Or to have nothing to do with you ever again. Expert Intuition Demon is all about creating dire consequences or preventing a bad consequence for the self, a bad future for the self. And it will use any means necessary to do so. This could be lying, cheating, stealing, raping, killing, murder. It doesn't matter. Everything is on the table as far as the demon is concerned, because it's focused on making sure that the NI inferior does not have a bad consequence for its own bad choices. It's kind of interesting how that works. Expert Intuition Demon, if you think about it, is a super high form of entitlement, because it ultimately is causing the ego to shirk all responsibility. So it will burn bridges, it will harm other human beings, it will take away other people's freedom to make sure that, the NI inferior's choice isn't taken away. But what if the SE hero is using their NI inferior to make a poor choice? For example, my stepfather-in-law. Someone came up to his steps one day and rang his doorbell, and then they ran away, just as a practical joke. He got so mad and so angry at this person that he got into his car, grabbed a gun, and chased them down the road and started shooting them. Luckily, he didn't kill anyone, or no bullet hit anybody, but he did time for that. Attempted murder. It's pretty rough. And he had his choice taken away. So you can kind of see how Expert Intuition Demon, when it's not contained, when it's unstable, it can lead to those bad consequences. He was willing to take away another person's future. Why? Because they took away his choice to respond, because they made him uncomfortable, because usually he's the practical jokester, but he can't take what he dishes as an ESFP. That's really frustrating, right? But you can kind of see how the demon function lied to him at that moment, because the demon's like, hey, I'm out, but I'm going to keep lying to you because I don't want my hero to put me back into the abyss. I want to stay out as long as I can. And it literally caused him to make those decisions. And he made those decisions. And he's still paying for it in some cases to this day. He's good. He's rehabilitated. He hasn't had any issues. None whatsoever. It's just he doesn't have his gun rights, for example. There's many rights that he no longer has because he made that choice. He's an ESFP. That sucks. It's so interesting to me that how oftentimes SE heroes end up in jail doing time. So interesting to me how their demons just lie to them, telling them, oh, there's not going to be any consequences to you. We're just going to take away other people's futures. We're just going to take away other people's choices, but you'll still have your choice. The reality of the situation is that expert intuition, everybody's choice, is wrapped and intertwined with your choice. You make a decision with your NI, it creates a consequence. And it could also create a bad reaction immediately in the moment. So it can cause an SE burden to someone else who has to respond with their SI to deal with something regardless of where their SI is in their function stack. That's one way. Or it will create a negative consequence for you and somebody else. Usually someone else, because expert intuition is extroverted. A negative consequence for somebody else. A negative future for someone else. This is the butterfly effect. And the butterfly effect is your demon. Come on, SE heroes, you ever watch that movie, The Butterfly Effect? That's literally what you do to people. That movie is what you do to people when you use your demon in its unstable form. You can reverse that and be angelic, and then you're actually giving people good consequences and good futures. That's possible. It happens when you're integrated. It happens when you're closer to enlightenment. Sure, definitely. But that's something you got to decide. That's something you gotta do on your own. Well, how do you do that? Well, we're going to discuss that in a second. Anyway, the point is, using all these examples, extrovert intuition demon is extremely powerful, like all other demon functions, and can lead to this huge amount of destruction, an absolute huge amount. And it's your responsibility to not believe its lies and to understand what it's actually trying to tell you. Because, let's be straight, your demon function, like all demon functions, well, they're pussies. They're absolute pussies. And they're too pussy to tell you the honest truth. They're too pussy to tell anyone the honest truth because they know something we don't know about our egos. It knows that if it tells the truth, then our egos, our poor little egos, are going to get bruised. And what happens when the demon bruises the ego? The ego gets mad and it sends the hero function to go lock them up in the abyss again. Wow. So, the reality of the situation is, it's your own damn fault that your demon function lies to you. It's your own damn fault. Because you're prideful. It's that simple. So this is the pride of the hero. You guys, you're all SE hero, you know? You have all the capability in the world, all the talent in the world. But then you just rest on your laurels and you don't even use that talent. You don't even actually do anything with it. Wow. That's pathetic. That sucks. Maybe you should figure that out, right? Maybe you should make that a priority. I mean, that would be nice, right? Thing is, you don't. The thing is, you aren't, because my pride. Your ego just can't take the real message of the demon. My wife does it all the time. Let me tell you a story from our marriage. So, we went out on a special date. It's interesting because our 2-year anniversary is like a couple of days away, actually. Today's the 27th, so this Saturday is our 2-year wedding anniversary. So, our anniversary is around the corner. Well, this was maybe 5 months ago. I don't know, she just kind of let herself go, as all women do in a relationship where they get secure. That's what happens. Don't believe when I say that? Well, statistically, when you get married to a woman and she gets secure in her marriage, she'll let her body go. She'll let how she dresses herself go. And that awesome, sexy woman that used to have spider monkey sex with just no longer exists all of a sudden when you get married to her. This happens by and large to the vast majority of women when men commit to them. And men don't really get that much out of marriage, so this is why I oftentimes tell men to not get married so their women stay spider monkeys, if you know what I'm saying, right? Because they're actually getting what they want out of the relationship, because if they get married, they lose everything they want in a relationship. Kind of weird how that works, this phenomenon. Well, the point is, my wife, we went to this really nice, classy restaurant in town. It's one of our favorite places to go. And I was so attracted to every woman there except my wife, because my wife was basically dressed like a hobo. That SE hero just being lazy, because SI Nemesis is making them lazy, and they're just resting on their SI Nemesis ISTJ shadow laurels, basically. Resting on their STJ laurels like STJs do, because STJs love resting on their laurels. Oh, I've put in so much effort, so I deserve to slack every now and then, right? And then As a result of that, their performance goes down. But this is SE Hero we're talking about. They have the ability to outperform everyone. Like, for example, my favorite supermodel is Ava Padlock. Ava Padlock is an ESTP. Ava Padlock looks very similar to my wife. I maintain my wife is far more beautiful than Ava Padlock, provided my wife actually puts in the time, puts in the effort, makes the choice to not be dressed like a hobo. But she didn't. She came to this, we went on a date, it was supposed to be special, and I've been working really hard and celebrating something. She showed up dressed like terribly, like a hobo, literally dressed like a hobo. And I'm like, what the hell? I got so angry with her because I'm like, wow, you're so disrespectful. Like, why, how could you do this to me? You know, so then my SE demon came out. So my SI inferior was very unimpressed, very unhappy. So my SE demon came out and was like, hey, look at that woman over there. Hey, look at that woman over there. And I basically was showing her that my SI inferior was going to put my attention on other people instead of her. Because she decided to be lazy. She decided to not be even remotely presentable. I mean, there's some basic things that she could have done to just do that. But here I am, you know, in public, not proud of my wife with me in public. Here I am in public, embarrassed. Honestly embarrassed that I'm even being seen with such a person at this point, you know, and it's ridiculous. Not only that, but this has been a pattern of behavior. Usually SI inferior can take the hits over a certain amount of time, and because of SI inferior, you know, we're able to withstand a lot. We're able to take a lot of hits. We have a huge pain tolerance, right? And I've been tolerating my wife at this point being dressed like a hobo in public for far too long. And just something snapped inside of me. And I just I lost my shit. You know? So, and like, I kept on pointing out other women and how other women were more sexier than her. Constantly. To make sure that she knew she didn't have my attention anymore. And that she would actually have to put in effort. That's the thing you SE heroes got to understand. Just because you have all the capability or ability in the world to be able to outperform everyone, doesn't mean that you're actually going to use your NI inferior to choose to do it. Doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. Usually you're just going to be lazy and rest on your laurels of your SI nemesis and then just get by or just do the minimum. And I'll be honest, I fucking hate it. It's the most annoying thing in the world, the SE heroes. You know, it's really pathetic if you think about it. The SE inferiors, you know, those people that really bother you, SE heroes, so much, those INTJs and those INFJs, you know, especially women, constantly outperform SE heroes on a regular basis. They outperform you. Yet they only have 25% of your talent capability, really? How can you live life like that? And how can you be these giant, huge-ass motherfucking hypocrites? You SE heroes and you hypocrites, because you like to point your finger about how terrible SE inferiors are about this, this, and this, because they bother you so much. But you yourself won't lift up a finger to perform, or at least seek to outperform them, because you just sit resting on your laurels, sitting on your toilet of life, where you're just like, oh, you know, I can outdo them anytime. I don't care if you can. What I care about is whether or not you do. What I care about is whether or not you have a pattern of that behavior. Do you? Do you have a pattern? Because, you know, my SE hero wife, who has the ability to be an absolute bombshell and knock everyone else out of the park, such that she can have full command of my attention on her if she wants, if she tries, right? Gosh, it's so ridiculous that She even admitted to me recently, she's thanking me for helping her figure out her wardrobe because, like, I have my Instagram account, and so many people from this audience have just shat on me for my Instagram account because I'm following a whole bunch of supermodels and fashion pages constantly on Instagram. And about once a week, I'll go through the feed, and what I do is I bookmark all of the posts that I like with what these girls are wearing. And then every time I bookmark one, I send a copy directly to my wife's account so that she can see what I like. Because let's be honest, I'm anti-inferior. I am so picky over what my woman is wearing and what she's dressed as. Extremely picky. Extremely picky. And she thanks me. Oh, thank God you're so picky, because I just go to a store and I have no idea what to do, In fact, even last night, she was telling me, I want to wear lingerie for you. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm down for that. I'm sure most men would be down for that. But I'm like, I told her, like, look, I am extremely, extremely picky over lingerie, because I'm like, most lingerie is ugly, and I'm inferior, and lace is not exactly, it doesn't feel good on the skin, and it's just kind of like, and so what I did is I went to Instagram, and then I saw something I may like at Fashion Nova. I went to Fashion Nova, and I went to their lingerie section, and I literally looked at every single item. I think I went about over 3,000 items super quick on Fashion Nova. And it's easy with SI inferior and being a man, where I instantly, in my head with TI parent, like, okay, that's attractive, not attractive, this, and I did and I only found 12 things I actually might like. And then I still had to parse that down to 2 items. And then I sent those 2 items to her, and she ordered them. She ordered them last night. But, and then she thanks me, saying, okay, well, thank you so much for helping me handle my wardrobe, because, let's be honest, I can't really dress myself. I'm like, wow, there's some, humility. You see? The pride of the hero is what makes the demon demonic. The humility of the hero is what makes the demon angelic. Okay? Naruto in the anime had to humble himself in order to be able to hear Kurama, the nine-tailed demon fox, out and actually begin a relationship with him. Naruto was going out of his way, in his hubris, in his pride, to control the nine-tailed demon fox's power, instead of actually cultivating a relationship with the fox. And then Naruto actually did cultivate that relationship. And he was able, and then the demon was willingly sharing his super nuclear weapon-like, almost godlike power with Naruto. And he used that to save the world. That's the whole point of the story. Because the hero and the warrior, in its hubris, thinks that just because it can put the demon back into the abyss, that it can conquer the demon, that it can control the demon. Just like it's so interesting to me to watch SE heroes who have basically no awareness of consequences whatsoever to their actions. They have no awareness of why. They have no awareness of what's going to happen long term, because they assume that they got it figured out because their SE hero is aware of immediate reactions. But what they don't know is long-term consequences. They haven't a clue about long-term consequences. And this becomes a huge issue for them. Huge issue. So much that not only is it destroying other people's futures, even to the point of death, or their own future, even to the point of death, or being locked up, or they themselves are being executed, etc. I mean, it could be a huge problem. The pride and the hubris of the hero and the warrior. Well, it's the hero actually, because the warrior is where the humility comes in. When the hero becomes the warrior, through humility, right, then the demon becomes the angel. That's the whole message of season 29 right there. Because think about it. The hero goes out, slays the dragon, comes back, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, I slayed the dragon. Look how good I am. Look at how awesome I am. But that's the hero. And this is why it is written, pride comes before the fall. And the hero will fall. And it will fall to the abyss. And then the abyss opens up and the demon comes out. That's literally what happens, folks. And that's where some of the greatest evil, some of the greatest hatred comes out. It's like all of a sudden Mephisto, Lord of Hatred from Diablo 2, was like released, you know, when the hero falls, right? Well, if you become the warrior, where you go out and slay the dragon, but you don't tell anyone because you were just doing your duty, right? That's the warrior. Where you're lacking in hubris, the demon will transform into an angel or an archangel, and it will give you its power. Instead of you having this Faustian demonic contract where, yeah, the demon will lend you your power, but at great cost to you and others in your life. The angel, however, you have a relationship with the angel. It is no longer in the abyss. And you're listening to it, and it no longer believes it has to lie to you because you have the humility within your soul to understand what it's trying to tell you. So what is your any demon and any angel trying to tell you? Even though the demon will lie to you, but what would the angel tell to you if it felt that it no longer had to lie to you? Don't forget that the demon is still an angel. It's a fallen angel. Very powerful, right? But what would happen if it didn't have to lie to you anymore? What would happen if your ego actually could take the hits? What would happen then, right? What would be the message? What would be the message of the angel? Well, folks, it basically is going to tell you, SE Heroes, hey, maybe you guys should put in some more effort to actually be desirable around other people. How many times, SE Heroes, in your life have you had to be the instigator? How many times have you had to go out of your way to create experiences and invite people over to your house or your bar or your party or your thing? Like ESFP girls being the queen bee of their girl troop, right? And then with their girl troop, they go and invite other women with them to go out party on the night, right? That whole thing. Get things going, starting a big experience, right? Or an office party with ESFP men or their man friends going out to the bar, wingmanning constantly, etc. Or ESTPs calling up friends, text them, hey, let's do this. Happens to me all the time. I have a ESTP friend, close friend of mine. Love him dearly. His name's Alex. And when it comes to like the friends in our group, he's the one that creates the conference call for us to go hang out online and talk to each other and compare notes and help each other out with our businesses, etc. At the highest levels of the men's group and even higher levels than that in our little secret society that we've created. Well, he instigates that. He starts that conference. He goes out of his way to include other people. Thank you, SE Hero, for including other people. Thank you, SE Hero, for making sure your NI inferior and its choice is not being discluded, and that you'll burn everything to the ground if you find yourself discluded. Thank you, NI inferior. Thank you, any demon, to do that on behalf of the NI inferior, even though it'll just blow up in your face and actually harm people. But if you notice something, any demons, have you noticed something? Have you noticed that people don't actually invite you to things? Don't you realize you have to be the creators of the experience before you yourselves are invited somewhere? I told my wife, we had an argument about her aesthetics. This was a while back. She was working, she's working, having a job, and she bought like these clothes. So she bought these clothes, and she looked so ugly in them. It was disgusting. And I told her, like, you look disgusting right now. You're gonna go to work in that? Well, she's like, well, you're not gonna be there, so why do I have to care? And I looked at her square in the eye, and I said, listen, I don't care. If I'm not around, you will look your damnedest every time, even at work. I said, you're going to get proper clothes, proper jeans, proper this, proper that, and you're going to look great. Your hair is going to be done. Everything is going to be done. And you're going to be very aesthetically pleasing. Because that's what I expect from you. Whether or not I am present or not, this is what I expect from you. And then I said, guess what? Here's one of the outcomes that could happen. Knowing that my wife is beautiful at 100% of the time, regardless if she's working or not, all of a sudden causes me to be motivated to show up randomly at the end of your shift and pick you up, and then we go do surprise free time or go have some fun experience where I invite you to something later. Because I told her, if you don't do this, I'm just going to go to the pool hall with my friends. I'm not even going to tell you. You're not even going to be invited. You're not even going to have a chance. In fact, I will disclude you. Because, resting on your laurels. See what I'm saying? I told her this to her face. Well, gotta love introvert, intuition, inferior because of fear of missing out. Because they sure got that FOMO going. So she FOMO'd pretty hard. And all of a sudden, she decided to start wearing proper clothes to work, right? So she snapped to, and she figured that out. I even explained to her, look, your demon, needs to be actually putting in the work, putting in the SI effort, because, your demon is on, your NE demon is on an axis with your SI nemesis. And your demon's trying to tell you, maybe I should be more desirable so that people invite me to things, so then I don't always feel like I've missed out. Just think about it. Expert intuition demon is, quite frankly, it is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because she is acting like someone who is not desirable, and then no one wants her, and then she sees people actively choose to disclude her, and then she gets ragey that her choice was taken away, and then she burns bridges and takes away futures and other people's choices because her choice was taken away because she was discluded, when she's not wanted to begin with, when she's not desirable enough to begin with. She's not desirable enough to other people for people to call her and invite her to go to do things. Because she's resting on her laurels. Because she's lazy, too lazy to actually use her God-given talent and ability to give people a good experience, to perform well, because she's resting on her laurels. So the reality of the situation is, she's unfairly using her extrovert intuition demon to harm other people, including herself, because of indignance, which is perceived unfair treatment. She's like, it's unfair that you're discluding me. When she's conveniently forgetting that no one wants her around because no one wants to be with someone who's dressed like a hobo, or with someone who creates bad consequences for other people, or someone who's clearly irresponsible and creates messes for other people to clean up. This is an area of growth that my wife has had to endure as an SE hero. Because as soon as I explain these concepts to her, she's like, oh shit, it's true. You're right, people don't actually want me around. And you're right, I have pushed people away. I've done these unfair loyalty checks. And I'm like, yeah, because you're too prideful to actually perform. You need to humble yourself and recognize that you're not all that. You're not actually more attractive than those women over there. You're not actually better than those people. Sure, you have the potential. You have the potential to outperform everyone with your SE hero. In fact, you should be outperforming with your SE hero. But you take your own SE hero for granted. And that is the number one result of the pride of the hero. Taking your hero for granted. Taking your ability to perform as an SE hero for granted. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I tell her, hey, you want to change that? You want to fix that? Your demon's trying to tell you to be desirable. It's trying to tell you to stop being lazy. It's trying to tell you to stop taking your performance ability for granted. Because when you take it for granted, you start underperforming. And then the people that you don't like the most, the SE inferiors, are able to capture my attention more than you. Maybe you might want to fix that, SE hero. You might want to do something about that. And then all of a sudden, she realizes, oh crap, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Oh crap, I need to humble myself. And then she humbles herself. And then her SE goes from being a hero to a warrior. And she starts going to war over trying to figure out, hey, maybe I should be performing better. Maybe I'm realizing that just because I can perform and just because I can outperform, if I don't actually do it, it doesn't mean anything. Folks, this is the difference between the expedient versus the meaningful. She understands that she has to swallow the tree of life, the reality, the harsh truth about life, such that she herself knows that she has to perform and perform consistently. That she actually has to put in effort consistently, just like the rest of you SE heroes. And then all of a sudden, by her going out of her way to put in more effort with her SI nemesis, all of a sudden that any demon becomes more desirable. And all of a sudden people are inviting her to things. It's so interesting because I saw this transformation. Even people where she worked, after she changed her attitude, after she swallowed her pride and realized, maybe I'm not actually that attractive. Maybe I'm not actually that great. I should actually work on myself. I should actually love myself, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. She needs to love herself first before she can love me, which is the main point, the main lesson of life. So she humbled herself. And then all of a sudden, she was capable. All of a sudden, she was able to get the job done. And she has. She blew my socks off. Absolutely beautiful woman. And improving. Look, our son, this coming Thursday, is going to be 3 months old. Which means within 90 days of giving birth, my wife is now at the lowest weight she has ever been in our entire marriage. And she still can go a little bit further. And she is. She's going out of her way to perform. She's going out of her way to get to that body fat percentage level that both her and I have dreamed of. But all of a sudden, she cares about it now. She realizes that she's not that awesome. And the only way that she will be that awesome is if she chooses to be. If she actually makes that anti-inferior choice. That's the point, SE heroes. That's the point. You want to master your demon? Then you need to recognize that the reason, majority of the time, 80% of the time, you're being excluded from things. 80% of the time, your choice is being taken away. It's your own damn fault. And it's because of your behavior causing you to be undesirable to other people. Because you're unwilling to put in the effort to perform. That, in essence, is why you're not getting anywhere in life. That, in essence, is why No one wants you around. That, in essence, is why people keep taking away your freedom and keep taking away your choice, and you keep raging out like the Incredible Hulk and destroying relationships and destroying people in your life. That's why. And until you do, until you change, it will always be that way. I highly, highly recommend you change your behavior like my wife, my dear wife, has. And it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm very proud to take her out in public now. She's beautiful. She's got her wardrobe fixed. She's got her hair fixed. I mean, her hair was breaking off and it looked horrible. Now it's showing some signs of health. She's actually taking care of herself. So that's the point, folks. Your demon is trying to tell you to become desirable. So humble yourselves. Realize, as heroes, you're not that great. Just like everybody else is not that great. And your demon is just trying to tell you, hey, please be desirable. Make that a priority. And as soon as you start listening to your demon, as soon as you start listening to it trying to tell you, hey, maybe you should be more desirable, well, all of a sudden it turns into an angel. And it will grant you its power to the point where you become the most desirable person out there. To the point where you're the person who gets all the invitations first. And you don't necessarily have to build your wolf pack. Your wolf pack comes to you. That's your reward for this. That is what you get. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing to always be given the choice to be included in everything? Well, use your demon's angelic power. Use that archangel power of desirability. You just have to be willing to work for it. It's not enough for you to have all the talent in the world if you're not going to use it. That's the point, folks. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is it for Season 29, Episode 2, How to Master Your Expert Intuition Demon. Hopefully you found this lecture useful, helpful, educational, enlightening. And also some of you hopefully were able to identify with some of my real-life stories and real-life examples of this particular demon function. A lot of people think I'm some harsh ass who's sexist towards my wife. Like, no. She just doesn't have matrons in her life to show her how arrogant she was being, right? Or she doesn't have a daddy to tell her to get her act together, right? It's always one or the other, or both in some cases, where we're lacking the mature feminine, the mature masculine. And then all of a sudden our heroes end up having pride and hubris because our heroes are not getting the criticism that they need to become the warrior, so that our demon can relax and no longer be a demon, but become an angel and grant us its power. So use this information on your journey towards integration and enlightenment. I hope it serves you well in the coming years and to give you and other people around you a better future. Desirability matters, folks. It matters. Just put in more effort. You will become more desirable with more effort, especially when you have SE Hero and all of the capability and the ability and all the talent in the world at your fingertips. You just have to make the decision to use it. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you guys tonight.